everybody, it's Ian the Off-Kilter Crafter.
And I'm so Becca.
And I'm Amy Dement, and spoiler alert, I sometimes spontaneously burst into song.
Oh, me too.
Yeah.
She does. She does. What's your go-to song?
Well, I woke up this morning with Hamilton stuck in my head.
Oh.
And like one little musical phrase, and it's playing over and over. But yeah, anything generally 80s stuff because Gen X. That's what we do.
Mentos pressure. Full of life.
That's the one she's stuck on right
Mentos,
now.
the fresh maker.
There you go.
See, I know my cue. I can hit a cue.
Yep. Yeah.
Regardless of the previous
well,
experience.
Recently too, it's been nothing can stop us now.
I can't do it like he can, but I like hearing it.
Sounds really good in there.
I don't know what that is.
It's
I'm
Mickey
square.
Mouse.
I don't. Oh, okay.
It's a song from one of the rides at Disney World.
Yeah.
That I have not rode yet, but I have seen pop up on social media about 15 times, and I can't wait.
Which one is it?
Mickey Minnie's Runaway Railway.
Oh, I've only ridden it once. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a good one. I like that ride a lot. It's a lot of fun.
It's charming.
It is charming. I like the little.
I could talk about.
Go ahead.
I could talk about Disney all day.
Well, I noticed when we were popping on that you got Stitch behind you somewhere back there.
Yeah,
so.
I threw his ear was sticking out of my head, so I threw him on the floor. But yes.
Well, Amy, it's great to have you here. We're not here to talk Disney today, per se, but we are here to.
But we could.
Well, we could talk about Disney all day, and I feel like we are at some point going to circle back around to that. But for the moment, let's go ahead and talk about the quilts that we have brought in today. I've gotten to the point where I'm repeating quilts. We've done so many episodes of the show that I have now started to get to the point where I'm repeating quilts, and I don't.
You need
I have
to
flimsies.
sew faster.
I know. I need to get to like Tiffany speed so that I can turn out a quilt in just like an hour. But I'm bringing back a Cotton Cuts Puzzle Mystery Quilt. This was so sweet. It is the color powdered. And y'all have already seen this one before, but I'll put a picture up on the screen anyways, just to show it off yet again.
Guess who's back? Back again. Cuts is back. Tell him, I don't know. So I have I don't know if I showed that. Like, literally, I was in the same predicament as you, Ian. I went to grab a quilt for the episode, and I was like, well, I showed that one last week, that one the week before. I don't know what to grab. So I just pulled open my drawer of my mini quilts, and I pulled this out. And I don't think I've shown it fully bound, but maybe I showed it before. So I think this is So Speedy is the pattern from Whole Circle Studios. Or maybe it's Whole Circle Studio. I can't remember. I know whichever one I say, Sherry, the lady behind Whole Circle, always tells me that it's the other way. So it's either singular or plural, whichever. If you can't find it under one, look it under the other. But I did this on a live stream in a collaboration with her. She gave me the pattern for free in exchange for doing content for this. And so I pieced it together. I think I pieced most of it on a live stream. I wrapped it up after the weekend. And then I quilted it, and it stayed on my long arm for a minute.
It did.
Because I wanted to do like a 3D type of look. So I did what I think is called trapunto on it. I outlined all of the needles, and then I did a really dense background fill, but there's no quilting on the needles. There's quilting in the eye of the needle and then around each of the needles, and that's it. What I like about this one is that I did 2 layers of cotton. No, I did 2 layers of wool and 1 layer of cotton. So I got a lot of really puffiness in here.
Yeah, you did.
So it's got a lot of dimension to it. I really like it.
Yeah. It's very cool. Amy, did you bring one today?
I did bring a quilt. This is my most recent finish from our Austin Area Quilt Guild Scrappy Challenge. And
wow.
I collect these little half square triangles, the flippy corner triangles that people cut off and throw away.
Yep.
I can't let people throw them away. And it started with my friend Kim, who gave me these navy and red ones. And and then it became quite the problem. I should have gotten the box. I have a whole tub of these things. And I sew them together, and then I have the teeny tiniest little block ruler. And if I didn't have that little block ruler, there's no way I would do these. And so then I was like, okay, and it needs covered buttons. And it's all scraps. This is all fabric that is scraps from me, from other people, I mean, it's all trash. It's stuff that will go in the trash can. And that's my favorite way to make a quilt. And you guys know Kathy, Catbird Quilts,
Yep.
right? She at QuiltCon this year, she goes, I have something for you. Now you don't have to take it. And I was like, what are you talking about? What have you got? And so she hands me this bag of flippy corner triangles. She goes, I want to be the person that does this, but I'm not. She goes, but you don't have to take it. And I was like, are you kidding me? Give me that bag. And so her things are in here with all her shirts and her linen and these navy ones and some
Oh my
gingham.
goodness.
And so it's like all my friends and all the people I know and all the good things all wrapped up in one thing. And it's only 24 inches wide
Wow.
and
How big?
square,
How
24 inches square.
how?
And it 288 covered buttons.
Oh my gosh. How big are the half
Yeah.
square triangles?
An inch. They
Oh
finish at
my.
an inch. Yeah. I'm a crazy person.
No, you're
And,
not. No,
I
you're
have
not.
all this fabric and I'm digging in the trash for flippy corners.
I've started
I-
doing so I always take when I'm making my stitch and flips, I always do a second line. So I have a
Mhm.
pre-sewed half square triangle unit and I never really used them. I was building them up, building them up, building them up. I will probably use them at some point, but I've decided rather than taking that second line while I'm sewing my project, I just trim it off and I set them in a pile. And
Mhm.
then I'm using those as my leaders and enders right now. So I've got a nice stack of pre-sewn HSTs that just need to be squared up and put into a project.
Yeah.
So some might end up on your doorstep there.
Right.
I was to say they have my PO boxes or my mailing address. It's a PO box, but is always listed in the description box of my videos, right? And sometimes a Ziploc bag full of flippy corner triangles just shows up in my PO box with no return address, no
They don't want it
no
back.
nothing, no nothing. And I'm like, thank you, whoever sent me these great triangles. I'm so happy. Yeah.
Well, you may
Yeah, it's
receive
fun.
a package from me in the near future with some flippy corners that I'm like, here you go.
See, I love that. I love that it's, everyone else's quilt story then put together,
Mhm.
like me telling bits and pieces of everyone else's quilt story. That's my favorite thing.
Yeah.
What I think I just heard is that Amy likes it when you flip her off.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a reason we're friends, y'all. Oh.
We could talk like this all day,
We
but we
could.
probably shouldn't
We
because
could.
I want to
Yes.
buy some stuff from the expo. So
Yeah.
let's go.
Yep. For
Yes.
sure. So let's start at the beginning. When did you start getting into sewing, quilting? Because many of our listeners may have come across your channel, may very much be subscribed to your channel, but some people may be new to you. As we're finding out on the podcast, I'm actually quite amazed how many people are getting introduced to our friends here on the podcast. So some people may not be familiar with you. So how did you get started in sewing and quilting?
I got started in quilting. I learned to quilt from PBS. Eleanor Burns. We're talking before Fonz and Porter, way before Alex Anderson. Eleanor Burns, Sue Hausman, Sue Daly, Georgia Bonsteel. And these are the people that taught me to quilt. And I fell in love with it when I don't know, I was in high school. So late high school. So maybe 17 or 18, which is um, more years ago than I will admit to here. And off and on. My mom didn't quilt. My mom was 5'1", so she had beautiful hem stitching because she had to hem everything. But she didn't like sew and quilt. She did a lot of, like I say, hand hemming. Um, but she loved quilts, and it had always been around her. Her grandmother was a seamstress and things like that. So she had always been in her life. And I grew up in Georgia with parents from East Tennessee. So, you know, southern, and quilts in the South are ubiquitous. So it was always around me, but never in my life. And so when I started seeing it on TV and had access to it, I was like, I need to do this. I need to cut up fabric and put it back together, and started then, fell in love with it, and it had come and gone through the years. But really, for about the past 15 or 20 years, it's been really, I'm like all in on quilting. And I've done Casey, my husband, calls it serial monogamy with crafts. I've done paper crafts, I've done uh fiber, like all the fiber arts, knitting,
Hmm.
spinning, weaving, the whole gambit, crochet, all of that. But through all of it, quilting has been like the constant. It's the
Yeah.
one thing that I love. And what I love about it is that at the end, you have this thing, this like useful, beautiful thing that says, hey, I love you. I made this. And look at all this story of people and places and experiences. And here now I'm going to give it to you as this physical representation of something that, that says, I love you. And that's my favorite thing about quilts, is that all of that goes into it. Whether the person on the other end, on the receiving end, like if it's a donation quilt or something, whether or not they know who you are, they realize somebody made this for me,
Hmm.
and I feel valued and I feel seen. And that to me is the ultimate um benefit and bonus for quilting.
That is so eloquently put. Like I don't even know where to
Mm,
go after that. It just that's a really great perspective, and I think a lot of people feel that, and they like have that kind of concept and idea, but don't know how to express it and say it like that. So I think you just gave a voice to those people, and in that love behind the artwork that they do. Yeah.
Absolutely.
thank you.
Yeah.
And it is art, guys. It is
Hmm.
art. People are like, oh, I just sewed squares together. I'm like, but you sewed squares together in a way that I would never sew squares together. That is your
Yep.
story. That is your hands. That is your perspective in your piece. And that is what art is. Your expression of creativity. So,
Yeah. Love that. Well, it's been a great podcast, everyone. Bye.
all right,
That like
fantastic.
I don't even know where to go from there. That's such a wonderfully put. So, um, yeah, excellent. uh, so you've had this love for
Hmm.
you've gone through paper quilting, paper crafting, myself
Hmm.
included. That was the thing
Yeah.
that I always didn't like about card making when I was doing card making in the beginning was a lot of times you would send a card to someone, and a lot of my friends would keep my cards because they knew the work that would go into it.
Hmm.
But, some people would not. They would
Yeah.
get the card and they would say, "Oh, thank you so much for the card," and then into the bin it goes.
Hmm. Yeah.
With quilting, that is hopefully not the case. I would hope that
Hopefully.
hopefully a quilt that I send to somebody does not end up in the bin. But
Hmm.
it's a more that's what I love more about quilting is it is something that is more tangible and more usable than a card. Although a card is great, don't get me wrong. I'm not hating on the paper
No,
crafters
no.
out there.
But there is something about the utility of it
Mm.
Hmm.
that I like need that. Um, Casey and my kids, they go and they like to play these fantasy games and like, well, Dungeons and Dragons and other kinds of fantasy games. And they do this for hours and it brings them great enjoyment. And I'm like, at the end of it, you still have like nothing. You have
Mhm.
nothing to like show for it. And for me, and I think it's just being the daughter of a civil engineer, I need a tangible thing to
Yeah.
show for my efforts. And so I love that it is, yes, this beautiful thing that you spend time on and it's full of color and joy, but then it's useful.
Mhm.
It's useful and people see it all the time, or it keeps them warm when they have, or their guests warm when they pull it out on, a guest bed. I like the utility of it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Yep. My I have a niece and nephew that I've given quilts to, and my niece, uh her cat loves the quilt that
Mhm.
is the cat will lay out on the quilt every single night. She'll text a picture to me every now and again, and it's like, oh, Kitty's back on the quilt again. I'm like,
Yep.
okay, so not only am I helping to keep my niece warm, also the kitty loves it too, so I love that.
Yes, and for me, I have 9 pets
Mm,
because I am a
full
crazy
household.
person. Yes, we have 5 dogs and 4 cats. Um, and yeah, so when they're like, "Oh, my cat loves it," or "My dog sits on it," I'm like, "Yes, that's like the ultimate." Some people get really offended by. They're like, "You let your dog sit on the quilt I made?" I'm like, "You let your dog sit on the quilt I made? That's the best."
Hmm. Yeah,
So,
I think a lot of quilt
yeah,
makers want to see it get used. They don't
yeah.
want to see it in a closet. I've heard too many horror stories, and I put that in quotations, of people
Yeah.
receiving a baby quilt, and it going straight
Oh.
into the closet and never getting used.
But then you
Oh,
don't
yeah.
I don't love that because and it's not necessarily about, oh, I want to keep it fresh, I want to keep it clean. And I know we're preaching to the choir here
Yeah.
because
Mhm.
everybody that's listening to this is likely to be a quilter and they're going to be like, "Yes, you say it again." But for those that aren't quilters and are maybe listening to the podcast,
I
first
actually
off,
know some people who
I was going to say, do you really exist?
they do.
Huh.
I have some people who do listen who don't quilt.
Okay, so my thought is when that happens, as a quilter gifting a quilt to somebody, I'm making it because I want them to love it.
Hmm.
And
Mhm.
I'm always looking for another project, right? You get to the point where you have made quilts for everybody. Now what do you do? So having that one fall
Stack
apart.
them up.
Right.
Right.
But having one that you've gifted start to show signs of wear and need to be replaced
Hmm.
is
Is
not
the
the worst thing in the
best.
world. It is. It's the best. It's great. It's wonderful, but it also gives you an opportunity to make another one.
Hmm.
Mhm.
But what I was going to say with all of that, like when you said baby quilt, it kind of jolted something in my head. What makes a baby quilt so special for the baby, not the parents, is the memories with that quilt.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And if you never allowed that quilt to be used, then you were
Uh,
also denying the quilt that story or the memories to be made with it. So
mhm.
pull it out, use it. If you only want to use it like once a month or on special occasions, that's still being used and it's still being incorporated into memories. But if you're folding it up and putting it into a closet and just waiting for the perfect opportunity, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, get it
I
out.
call I call it Velveteen Rabbit style.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Every time I give a baby quilt, and if I can, I will give the book with it.
Hmm.
And because it's like, no, use it, love it,
Yep.
wear
Yep.
it out, wash it, machine. I said, babies are they're gonna get stuff on it. You put
Mhm.
stuff in, then it comes out somewhere. but but um babies are gonna mess it up. But that's the
Hmm.
beauty of it. Use it, wear it out, love it. When they need a new one, let me know.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I actually remember as a kid, my baby blanket. I remember
Uh-huh.
exactly. It was a white background, multicolored stars, and it had a purple binding on it. And I
Mm.
don't remember where that quilt came from, but I don't even know if it was store-bought or if somebody made it, but I remember that quilt. I know exactly that quilt. And I
Mhm.
don't even know if mom has it or not still, but I remember that quilt. I know that quilt. Like, that is my literal safety blanket.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
Yeah. Yep.
that is.
So,
I've also learned, and I do it myself as a quilter. I don't know if anybody else can relate to this, but I have learned that the more intricate a quilt looks and the more complicated it looks, automatically I know the more time went into it and the less I want it to be a utilitarian quilt. And so that's where
Mm.
the world of Scrappy comes in, right?
mhm.
Because if you give somebody a Scrappy quilt, all of a sudden they feel like it's okay to throw it on the ground. But if you
Yeah,
give somebody like a legit kit, that thing is going to get folded up and put away because
Yeah.
they're not going to hang it on the wall. They're not a quilter, right? Like they're just going to be like,
yeah.
oh, this is gorgeous, but they're not going to pull it out, you
Yeah.
know? So Scrappy sometimes is the way to go for a non quilter.
Yeah.
And it's such an easy sew.
Mhm.
Absolutely. I
So all of your little flip offs, Amy, can
Yeah,
go into a quilt.
I like that. I like that. I'm gonna use that from now on. I need
There
the
you go.
flip off corners.
There you go.
Yes, and all of my quilts are scrappy because um that's how I learned to quilt, and that's what I think is more interesting. You know,
Mhm.
quilting has become um um, uh, uh, this is not a criticism. Quilting has become buy the bundle, make the quilt. Buy the bundle, make the
Yes.
quilt.
Mhm.
And that has done tremendous things for both the business side of the quilting industry, but also in bringing in like two entire new generations of quilters by
Yeah.
making it accessible in that way.
Yeah.
There's more to it.
Yep.
There's more. It doesn't have to be buy the bundle, make the quilt. Couple of reasons that sort of model um aggravates is not the right word. Um, but I bristle at that sort of model is one, it's very cost prohibitive.
Yeah.
It's very cost prohibitive to do it that way. I'm in a position where, yeah, I can buy the bundle and make the quilt, but you're talking $200 or $300 at a
Mhm.
time, right? And also, then your quilt looks like everybody else's.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Maybe it doesn't. Maybe you change things. Maybe you know, have some creative spirit. You pull other things in. And most people get to that. But the, to me, the joy when I'm making things is how many different reds can I put in there? And where did they all come from?
Mhm.
And, um, people are like, how do you get your colors to match? I'm like, well, first of all, you don't.
Yeah.
You stop
Exactly.
worrying about it matching and you use more,
Yep.
because if you've got four reds and one of them's a little bit off, you're going to notice that one. But if you've got 40 of them, you've got
Mhm.
enough, you've got enough of a current running through it that you're not going to see that one that's orange and that one that's burgundy because it's all just going to look red,
It all
right?
averages out.
Mhm.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. And, so, but using scraps that, I mean, you can buy scraps, but I tell you, if you are a quilter, a beginning or established, and start telling people, I really want to collect scraps, I really want to make scrappy quilts, they will find you.
Mhm.
They will find you. And it does lower the um barrier to entry that money can present.
Sure.
Mhm.
I think that if money is the gatekeeper for anything, that we are doing everyone a disservice because quilting can be for everybody,
Mhm.
right? It doesn't have to be cost prohibitive. And I don't know. I know I started at the beginning and I had a direction I was going. I have lost my through line. Um, but I think quilting is exclusive in a lot of ways where it doesn't need to be.
Yeah.
Sure.
And I think scrap quilting specifically, bringing that back as a primary, like as the starting point rather than pre-cuts or bundles. I think bringing that back as the starting point opens a lot more doors.
Yep. I think I know as a beginner quilter, I started buying the quilt kits
Mhm.
because I liked the pattern,
Hmm.
but the coloring was already done for me. So I was like,
Yes.
oh, I can just make that quilt. But as I started doing a few more of those, I've just gotten to a point where I don't want to make the same quilt that everybody else is making. I'm even
Yeah.
borderline whether or not I want to make a quilt from a pattern. Like I
Hmm.
want to make something
Mhm.
completely unique. If I do it from a pattern, I absolutely don't want to use the kit. I want to bring my own fabric to the
Mhm.
game. Now, I know a lot of people like to buy the kits because it takes the brain power of color theory out of their head. They don't
Right.
have to
Yeah.
worry about
And
it,
that
right?
and that is a fantastic, I mean, it's a fantastic place. We're all in different places in our life where we have different amounts of creative energy or time for creative expression. And, if buy the, like I say, it's not a criticism.
Hmm.
Buy the bundle, make the quilt, buy the kit, make the quilt. And if that's what you love, if that's what you want to do, and that's what you have time and energy for, absolutely. Absolutely. It's a fantastic thing. And I love that there are so many kits out there now. Like I
Mhm.
said, it's a huge change and a positive one for the quilting industry and for quilters and for bringing new people into this ancient hobby and art form. So, yeah, but you're right. It's like you get to a point. Well, I started there because that's how I learned to quilt
Hmm.
Mhm.
because we didn't have quilt kits and pre-cuts when I was learning to quilt. That was not a thing. Um and so but I think most people do get to where you were talking about, Becca, where you are like, well, this is great, but I don't like this fabric and I don't like this fabric. And it's sort that's where it starts and it trickles in. I don't like this one, but I like this blue that I have in my I don't know why I said blue. I don't like any blue except navy, but most people like blue. But I like this blue and I'm gonna take this blue and I'm gonna put it in here and it's gonna work.
Hmm.
And it starts there because you're like, oh, that worked. And then you feel
Mhm.
empowered. And
Yeah.
that gives you the excitement and the confidence to take the next step.
Yeah. On the
So,
first project, they substitute one color because they
mhm,
didn't like it or that it wasn't the shade that they were looking for. So they substitute that one. And then maybe on their next quilt, they're like, oh, and they substitute two or three or four.
mhm.
It just kind of builds on itself on that way. Although color theory, I've noticed is like, there's a lot of hesitancy with color theory and everything. And I want to point out that quilt that's your left shoulder there. I had to think about
This
that.
one with the
Yeah,
purple
that
and
one right
green.
there. Yeah.
Mhm.
For those who are listening on the podcast, she's got a quilt over her left shoulder that's made up of it's kind of diamond shaped.
It's a string quilt.
It's a string quilt.
Mhm.
And it has some really lovely colors that I would not have put together if I was like told, "Oh, go make a quilt, select colors." Like I wouldn't have put those colors together originally. It is made of scraps, it looks like, and I'm sure Amy will
Yes.
tell me for sure in a moment. But it is made of scraps, and so but they're the greens, the purples, and then this red that is latticing that quilt. I would not have done a quilt like that, or at least collected the fabrics. But out of I don't want to say necessity because that's not true, but out of limited supplies or a selected arrangement of supplies, it looks like she put those together and they work incredibly together. So I don't mean to talk for you, Amy, but
No, no, I appreciate I appreciate the description. Sometimes things that are so familiar in our own lives, we forget that other people don't know the story behind it. And
yeah.
so we skip to the middle, right? This quilt was I took a class with Marquetta Johnson, who passed away early this year, which just broke my heart. She was amazing. I took a class at the High Museum of Art. I heard her speak about 2 years before, and I was like, this woman is a force. And I'll send you the links so you can link all of like her work, because she was
Yeah.
incredible. And she was teaching a quilting class. I don't even know what it was. A quilting class at the High Museum of Art. I got it in my membership newsletter. I was like, yes, here, take my money. I will drive downtown Atlanta, Midtown, but I will drive into town in Atlanta 5 weeks in a row, and I'll do it. I didn't even know what the class was.
Mm.
I didn't care. I wanted to learn from Marquetta. And so she was a force, and she was teaching beginning quilting too, but she teaches artistry. She teaches you how to unlock the creative spirit in you, and she teaches you very much what I always knew but didn't really know how to articulate, that the quilting is in your hands. It's not in your tools, it's not in your materials, it's not in the pre-cuts, it's not in the patterns, it's in you, right? And so she was like, here's the basics, here's a 1/4 inch seam. And then when people would have, and these were women from all walks of life. There were students, there were women who were, on the Woodruff Arts Foundation in Atlanta. It was all kinds of people. And she's like, here's the 1/4 inch seam. Here are a few basics. Here's, how each week we did a different thing, how to make a half square triangle. But it was like, here, it was this free, not, I guess, improv, but not in the way that when I say improv, people are going to respond to that word.
Yeah.
It was
Mhm.
just this, here's some foundational ideas and go play. And I had the most fun. And she was like, you guys need a show. I was like, what? She's like, yes, we're doing this show. We're doing this class at the High Museum of Art. Give me a minute. And she got them to give us a student show at the High Museum of Art.
Wow.
And so one of her big things in that, and you can't see it in my frame here, but there's another piece over here that I made in the class. And one of her big things was about string piecing, and she talked about it. And I mean, I'd seen and done string piecing before, and I put red and white polka dots. You mentioned the red. I
Yep.
put red and white polka dots in everything I do. Every single quilt I made. Most of my quilts are bound with it, but if they're not, it's in there. And so I knew when she was like, okay, we need these pieces, go play and make stuff for this show that we're going to have like 2 months after the class ended. I could see it from beginning to end. I knew exactly what it needed to be. And I also knew I only had 6 weeks to do it. And this quilt is big. This quilt is like 75 by 75. There's a lot of trash TV tied up in that quilt. Yeah, a lot, and it's hand quilted.
Oh,
So
wow.
yes, hand quilted with embroidery thread. And I had the most fun making it. And it's every purple, every green. There's a plaid right here over my shoulder, right there. That's men's shirts. I mean, there are a ton of men's shirts. The purple piece beneath it that has 3 squares, that's parts from another quilt. It's stripped sets. So it's everything, every purple, every green. And like I was saying earlier, if you've got something that doesn't match, add more. So
Yeah.
there is random craziness in this quilt, and I love it so much. And it got to hang at the High Museum of Art, which is just the coolest thing ever.
That's
Um,
amazing.
but I started it, and Marquetta taught me to be an artist, to call myself an artist, to understand that what I was doing was art, even if it's not fine arts. And I can never repay that except to go forth and teach other people, help unlock for other people what she did for me, which is
Mhm.
my mission in life at this point.
Yeah.
So, but
It's
I
it's funny
love it.
that you mentioned the polka dots because I hadn't picked up that that's your signature, but now that you've
Hmm.
mentioned it, I see it. Like I've seen several pieces of your work, and I
Mhm.
I I can link those together, and it's funny because a lot of times you can go onto social media and you can see a quilt and be like, I know whose quilt that is, just because
Mhm.
of their like quote unquote signature. They may not even realize that they have a signature,
Right. Their
but
style, right.
yeah, yeah. So that's funny that you say that. You must love polka dots. By the way, folks
I
listening on
do.
the podcast or on the podcasting platforms, she's wearing polka dotted glasses.
Yes.
So I
Yes.
think she likes polka
I
dots.
I blame all the dotted Swiss of my childhood. I was born in the early 70s. I know I just said I wasn't going to tell anybody that, but um I'm not I'm 52 and I'm really proud to have earned all 52 of those years. Um but in the 70s when we were little bitty things, these long dotted Swiss like prairie style dresses were all the rage, and I
Yep.
remember them from my childhood, and all
Yeah.
of my childhood pictures are filled with them. And so yeah, I blame the dotted Swiss of the 1970s.
Nice.
That's
It
awesome.
stuck.
So I want to kind of transition a little bit because you are also a content creator as well,
Mm,
like we are. How did that journey start? Because you talk about all the way back in high school being
mhm.
sewing, quilting. When did you kind of make that transition into the social media world? And like, was it just one day that you were like, oh, I want to start a YouTube channel, or was there like a
Oh
slow
no,
roll?
it was years.
Yeah.
Um, I one of my very good friends, Hannah Louise Poston, and I've talked about her on the channel probably ad nauseum, but she's a dear friend, and she started in the beauty community. I mean, she still is a YouTuber in beauty and lifestyle, um, and fashion. But she started in the beauty community. But she is I had watched a lot of like makeup and beauty YouTube just because it was a fascination of mine. Because I'm like, I don't know, I wear some mascara and red lipstick every day, and that's what I do. Because red lipstick sort of distracts from all that I didn't do. But I was fascinated by this stuff, and I was like watching people. But the beauty YouTube, and if anybody's ever watched beauty YouTube, so much of it is, oh, here, let me review this product and tell you about this. Now you should go buy it.
Yep.
And Hannah was the exact opposite of that. She started her channel with literally, my name is Hannah and this is my no buy year. Her project for a year was to rebuild her relationship with spending and overconsumption and break the cycle of like this. And there were a couple of key areas that she knew she had problems with. And so her channel was all about how to use the resources you have
Hmm.
Yep.
and the conversation about how it feels, how it affects, you know, the content she watches and things like this. But she's a poet. Like she's an award-winning poet. She's like really, really a smart lady. And she was speaking with in such an articulate and eloquent manner about these issues that are broadly apply. It's not
Hmm.
just the beauty industry. You guys know so many of the quilting stuff is the same. It's the
Yep.
model of, here, let me review this product and here's why you need it. And there's nothing wrong with that,
Yep.
but it's out there.
Hmm.
And there's more. Oh, sorry about my camera. There's more conversation to be had about, like I said, if money is the factor that's stopping you from doing this, let's break that down.
Yeah.
Let's eliminate that. And so I watched Hannah for a long time, and we became good friends and did some other projects together. And I had thought about doing a YouTube channel for a long time because I didn't see on YouTube what I wanted to talk about, what I wanted to hear about.
Yes.
I didn't
Big time.
hear the stories. I didn't, there are a billion tutorial channels out there, and they're great, but it's out there. It's done. And there are people that do it. Like, I've done a few tutorials on the channel. There are people that do it so much better than me, because I am like, oh, well, here's my little ratty sketch of a pattern, and here's what I did. Because I don't like to be told what to do, and I tend to not want to tell people what to do. So I'm like, here's one way you can do it. But there are people that do really good step-by-step tutorials with the framing, and you guys have done several of them with the framing and the cameras and the like it's and the editing. And I'm like, oh, here's my little ragtag thing about how I did it, but I had fun, and it's okay if you mess it up.
Yep.
That's what
Yep.
I wanted to bring. But I also wanted to talk about, like, the things I wasn't seeing, the people in the quilting, the stories, the connection, the fact that you don't have to have a million tools. I know, Becca, I know you love a gadget. I hate a gadget.
I love gadgets, but I also subscribe to that same theory. You don't need all of
Right.
them. You need a mat, you need one universal ruler, a rotary cutter, your machine, and some thread. That's it. Like, you're
You
done.
don't need any. You actually don't even need any of that. People
No, if
ask
you
me
want a
all the
pair, do
time.
it with a pair of
Pe-
scissors.
People ask me all the time, what do I need to quilt? I'm like, you need a needle and thread,
Oh, well,
maybe a
yeah.
good pair of
Like,
scissors,
literally, I'm
maybe a
sitting here
good
with a
pair of
needle and thread.
scissors. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm like, people did it for thousands of years with a needle and thread and maybe a good pair of scissors.
Yeah.
Maybe it was a nail and a board that they pushed the fabric down and tore the strip.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
but I didn't see anything on YouTube that was talking about, like, I really loved, and I got to know you guys through the live streams. I like that conversation. I like
Mhm.
that it's talking about life and how quilting is, and is this part of everything else that you're doing, that there's more to it than, well, buy the bundle, make the quilt, or here's this review of this product, or here's how you do XYZ,
Yeah.
Mhm.
right? It's bigger than that.
Yeah.
And it touches everything in our lives. And I didn't see anybody talking directly to that. And I was like, well, I could do that. And then Hannah was like, Amy, you have to do this. You have to do this. And I was like, but I don't know. What if people, she's like, all right, first of all, people aren't going to hate you. And second of all, you don't care if they do. I was like,
That's
you're
right.
right. I
Yes.
don't. I'm like, you're right. I don't. And you're right. They probably won't. I mean, some people will, but that's none of my business.
But that's where the beauty of YouTube comes in, right? Like, the algorithm feeds up what it thinks you want to see. And so you're going to see that stuff, but I was very much the same way. I
Mhm.
I wanted my daughter wanted to start a YouTube channel. She was
Mhm.
much younger, and I had no clue how to edit a video or do any of it, but she kept asking me to do it. So I was like, well, let me figure this thing out. All I had was my phone and my iPad. That's it. I didn't even have a computer that I could edit with. So I was like, okay, I'll take the video with my phone and I'll edit it on my iPad. But what am I going to record? Because I've got nothing to say. I'm just some other person, right? And so I realized at the time I was watching a lot of unboxing videos,
Mhm.
but all of those unboxing videos, I was like, get to the point. Some people are taking like 25 minutes to show you a fat quarter box.
Yeah.
And it would be like a
It's
10-minute
got 6
intro.
items in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, get to the point. Show me what's in there. If you want to make the video 15, 20 minutes, that's fine. But I don't want to hear about the mail that came in today. I want to know the items that are in the box. I want you to
Mhm.
tell me why you like it, why you don't like it. I want you to show me the fabric. I don't want to hear any of the other stuff. That's for a different
Right.
video. It doesn't mean I'm not interested. It means I clicked on this video because I wanted to see the box. And so I let that drive my unboxing videos. And for a while,
Mhm.
I feel like that was something I was known for because I was doing it different than everybody else.
Yeah.
But
Yes.
I got to the point where that consumerism just started to overwhelm me, right?
Eats you.
You were talking about your
Hmm.
friend Hannah and how she's talking
Yeah.
about you don't have to buy. Well, I felt the same way, but I also felt like I was drowning in these boxes. And the only reason why I was drowning in them is because I was using them to make content. I wasn't necessarily
Hmm.
using the items.
Yeah.
So I pivoted the channel and I was like, okay, I'm going to go in this direction, and they're either
Yeah.
going to follow or they're not.
Mhm.
And that's where,
Right.
Yeah.
sorry,
And
that
look
was a
at you now.
tangent.
No, not at all.
No, I love it.
Yeah. No, and I think Amy brings up a good point, is that there's a spectrum. There's a
Mhm.
spectrum of
Hmm.
YouTube creators and content creators, the ones who create the tutorials, that create
Mhm.
the step by step, that create the informational. Like, I mean, I'm kind of one of those people. I do create those step by steps and
Hmm.
informational ones, because I mean, I am an instructional designer, so that's
Yes.
my wheelhouse. But Amy, you kind of noticed that there wasn't the story, the personal
Mhm.
touch, the
Hmm.
behind the scenes, well, I wanted to start this pattern, but it ended up over here now type situations. So
Right.
yeah, it really I think there is a spectrum, and just like society, there's a spectrum of consumers
Hmm.
consuming that content, who may want that step by step, or who may want that individual story, or
Mhm.
that individual behind the scenes, or what have you. So I think it is good that there are multi types of content
Yes.
creators out there to feed what people want and need.
I think when it comes to YouTube content, I'm sure you both will agree with this. There are a ton of videos that you can make. There's a ton of content that you can do out there. And just about every topic or every video idea has been done by somebody else.
Yep.
They may
Yeah.
not have done it with your style. They may not have done it the way that you chose to do it, and it may not even be nearly as successful. And you may never have, you didn't even know that it was out there.
Yep.
But it's out there. And it's just
Hmm.
like quilting. Just because somebody else made a string quilt, like what Amy has hanging
Hmm.
up behind her, that doesn't mean that you're not going to make it,
Yep.
right? You're still going to make it. To me, creating videos and creating content, it's very much about teaching, because I love to teach, but it's also a creative art outlet for me just as much as quilting is,
Yeah.
right?
Hmm.
So all that to say, I forgot where I was going. I lost the throughput. But I just I don't know where I was going with that, but I think the takeaway for me is content creation is as big of an art form as quilting is, in a lot. Oh, the Venn diagram. See? ADD. The Venn diagram. So content creation is an art form, but it also has to be something that you want to make. And for me, it also has to be something that I know people want to watch.
Yep.
And so the way I look at that, Amy, it sounds like you're doing the same thing, is looking at the video to see if it entertains me, if it holds my
Yes.
interest, right?
Yeah. I do that when I'm editing. Um,
Yeah.
there's a if I reach for my phone, if I reach for my glass of water or whatever when I'm editing, I'm like, oh, cut that,
Yep.
because if I'm bored,
That's right.
if I'm bored, oh, yeah, it's brutal. And I watched a lot. People ask me sometimes, and I know Donna asked me about it when I was on her channel way back, and she's just such a champion of, well, everyone. But
Mhm.
she's like, your channel grew really fast. How did you do that? I was like, I watched years of
Mhm.
really bad YouTube. I watched
Mhm.
a lot of really bad YouTube and went, okay, what do I not want to do? And that's not
That's
to
right.
say their content or their people's ideas were bad, but it was like, okay, if you have bad sound, people are clicking off,
Yep.
That's right.
because I know I am. I'm like,
Yep.
how am I behaving? How am I responding to the content? Like you said, Becca, you're like, get to the point. Yes. It's like people don't care about, until they know to care about you, they don't care about your life.
That's right.
Yep.
That's right. You gotta,
Right?
there's a formula. I think where this is turning into YouTube 101, but there's a
Right.
formula
Yeah.
for my edited videos. There's a hook to grab your attention. there's the
Mhm.
intro, the promise of what I'm going to do, and then the delivery on that promise. And that intro is quick, and
Mhm.
that hook
Mhm.
is no more than 30 seconds. It's
Yeah.
not 20 minutes, which all that to say, if you go click on one of my live streams, you'll hear me babble for 2 hours.
Yeah. Well,
Mhm.
and there's a difference between live streaming and
Yes.
pre-recorded content.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
I think that is something, right now I am lacking in that pre-recorded get to the point content. I need to get better on that. But the what people have described my live streams as is getting coffee with a friend and
Yes.
having a chat. And that is where I have built up a lot of my community at. I love my
Yeah.
community. I love the people that we hang out with every Sunday. Um, we have curated this wonderful community of people to hang out and have fun. And, they get to know a little more personal side of me because I talk about, well, this week, I
Yeah.
go
And they're
ahead.
there for you. They're there for
Exactly.
you at that point.
Exactly.
And
That's a different audience.
I've made a comment, and please don't be offended, or you know, I live streams are great to participate in, and they're horrible to watch.
Oh,
Yes.
100%.
Yes.
Painful to watch,
Yeah,
because it's
I
like,
cannot watch the replay
because
on any, including my own. The live stream for me is there for the live.
you're on the outside of what was happening then,
Yep.
right?
Yeah.
And
Yep.
that's hard, but there's amazing to create community. And I've
Mhm.
met friends in both of your live stream chats, like people that I know and that have met in real life because we were in the chat
Yeah.
together,
Yeah.
and so that, yes, it's about that community building. And I think that live streams, for the most part, are the people who um they're the people who are there for you,
Yeah.
Yep.
right? The
Agreed.
content is secondary, not inconsequential, but secondary to the connection.
Yes. Yep. A great example of this, and I'm not going to name names because I want to make sure to respect their privacy and everything. But I know that two people from our community, actually, Becca and my community, they live in two different countries.
Mhm.
And one of them traveled to another country and they ended up meeting up because they met each other through our community. And it's a wonderful feeling to know that because of Becca and I's community, we were able to help connect these two people who would have never met for any reason
Right?
at all.
I
It's
know.
such a great feeling.
Isn't that what it's about? Isn't that what it's about? And we, because the fact is, in life, we have more in common than we don't.
It's true.
Mhm.
It's true.
And we share interests, we share values, we can have a conversation even if we have different interests and different values, but we can have a conversation if we have a common, like, thread that brings us together, literally thread,
Mhm.
that to sort of hang all those things on. It's like, I don't have to agree with you, but I can appreciate you, I can listen to you, and we have this thing that we both enjoy that ties us together and gives us the opportunity to say, hey, okay, I hadn't thought about maybe this point of view or that point of view, but from this shared fiber art, this thing of cutting perfectly good fabric apart and sewing it back together. You know,
Yep.
it does. I think it builds a place for conversation and communication,
Yep.
even if it's not agreement. It allows room for understanding.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Definitely. Definitely.
I
Well,
feel like we've covered the gamut,
I feel like we have two.
and
I
I am halfway finished with Hexie number 2, so that must be an indicator that it's time for the So Speedy round.
that was exactly what I was about to say. You were reading my mind. Amy, are you ready for our So Speedy round?
Not in a million years, but here we are. So let's go.
All right, let's do it. Here we go, Amy. Here's your first question. What was the very first thing that you sewed?
The very first thing that I sewed was probably no, I know it was. It was a red skirt. Little from a McCall's pattern. When I was, I don't know, 16 years old.
Nice.
So, and then quilts.
Coffee,
straight
tea,
quilt.
or neither?
Coffee.
Speaking
Coffee.
of,
Always coffee.
Do you press your seams open or to the side?
To the side, unless I have to press them open for some really good reason.
what's your go-to comfort food?
Oh, fried chicken. I
Yummy.
tend to not eat meat most of the time, but it's always going to be fried chicken. You can take the girl out of the South, but
Pre-washed fabric or cut right into it?
whatever. I'll use anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And with working with scraps, I don't know how many times you can really
Mhm.
pre-wash that fabric,
Yeah.
but it's
Well,
scraps,
and
and so you don't know
I'm-
whether it's been pre-washed or not.
I will generally not pre-wash fabric that comes in because I can't be bothered. But I get a lot of donations
Yeah.
and random, fabric from random sources. And if it's washed or not washed, I don't care. I mix it all together.
There you go.
Beach vacation or mountain getaway?
Mountain getaway.
Do you prefer hand sewing or machine sewing?
Yes. I love it all.
I love that. Yes. Morning person or night owl?
Oh, morning person. Drives my husband crazy.
He
But
must
I
be
like
the
to get it-
night owl.
I like to get up about 5:30 because not even the dogs are awake.
Oof.
It's great.
Yeah, you have that. Solids or prints, what feels more like you?
Prints. I'll use
This is-
anything but prints.
I feel like this question is a give me for everybody we ask it of. If you had a free day, would you spend it sewing or doing something else?
Oh, I would spend it doing something else.
Oh, wow. Okay. What is that something
well,
else?
Probably reading. So sewing is, kind of my go-to. I do it every day, and it has become my job, which I like. So my free day would be a day not doing that. Yeah,
Oh,
driving in a.
interesting.
Casey and I like to drive, like to ride
Uh-huh.
in the car just to interesting places and talk and solve all the world's problems. We've been doing it for 32 years and it hasn't seemed to solve any problems yet, but we have fun. So yeah, probably something else.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
Cats, dogs, or another pet?
Dogs, but I have dogs and cats. I'm a dog person.
I was
And
going to
my
say
white
you have
little-
both of them, so.
I do have both, but I love dogs. All the dogs.
You want two? I've got some for you. You can grow your brood. I'm teasing. I love my pups.
We're full up right now.
You're right,
Yeah.
exactly.
Good, because I'm not really sending them. What color do you buy the most fabric?
Oh,
Red.
red.
Yeah, I
Red.
was like, do you need to ask that
Yeah.
question?
Red,
Go
red,
ahead.
everything red is the best color.
What's your guilty TV pleasure? Wow. What is your guilty pleasure TV show?
Oh, I am obsessed with the documentaries about people who escape cults and the like fundamentalist churches or even the business. I can't get enough of it.
I love documentaries. All documentaries.
Mhm.
But especially like the series of like escaping polygamy or
Yes.
yes, right. I'm like, this is fascinating. But then on the other side of that, I also want to know the ones about the serial killers. So there's that.
Yeah, those two.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's my turn.
It
Hi.
is.
Binding by hand or machine?
It depends. I generally by hand because I like I just like to do it. I don't think it's better in any way. I just enjoy doing it. But if I need it in a hurry, or if it's going to not a baby but a kid, I'll bind it by machine. I'll pull it to the front and use a zigzag stitch.
Oh,
to
great
bind,
idea.
to bind the front, a triple zigzag. Yeah.
Would you rather cook dinner or order takeout?
I would rather eat a home cooked dinner, but I would rather order takeout.
Who taught you how to sew or inspired you to learn?
Eleanor Burns. Eleanor Burns on TV.
Sweet or salty snacks?
Salty.
If you could design your own fabric line, what theme would it have?
Oh, I don't know. That's a stumper.
It's going to be a whole line of red polka dots.
Right, exactly.
It's gonna be a whole line of red and white polka dots. Yeah. Yes, polka dots and geometrics. Sort of more is more. More is more.
Okay.
But I like yeah.
Yeah. All right. Do you like to sew in silence or with music or podcasts playing?
All of the above. I know that's a terrible answer.
No,
It's not.
No.
It's an honest answer,
Yeah.
right? Like sometimes you just can't process any more of that. Sometimes you have to have it quiet because you're recording, right? Like it just depends on the day of the week.
Yep.
It depends on what I'm doing. You
That's
know,
right.
but I tend to have a book in my ears if I can.
Yeah.
What's one sewing tool that you've got your eye on for the future, even though you're not a gadget person?
Yeah.
Oh, it's not a gadget, and I love a tool, like a useful tool. It's the one-offers that bother me. I want the cutting mat from Quilter Select, the big one, because I'm left-handed and the numbers run both directions. And you think, well, that doesn't seem like a thing. It's a thing. Let me tell you.
It's amazing how many non-left-handed devices and tools and things there are. I am not left-handed, but my mom is, and she would always remind me every International Left-Handers Day how left-handed she is. And so it's amazing to me because I saw her, she had a left-handed measuring cup. She had a left-handed, like there are so many things that are not left-hander friendly that it when you do find those, I know how exciting that is.
Yes.
Awesome. Well, I like the Quilter Select rulers because the rulers, the numbers go in both directions. So it's left-handed or right-handed. It's not one or the other.
Well, they're developed by Alex Anderson, who is left-handed.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. It goes both ways.
It sure does.
Unlike me. All right. So, Amy, Amy, it has been so wonderful having you on the podcast today. Thank you so much for being here. Where can people find you online?
I'm Amy Dement everywhere, except for Instagram. Instagram, I'm at Emayde, Eemayde, because some idiot already had my name.
Oh, no.
I don't know.
How rude. How rude.
How rude. That's what I thought. No, I'm Amy Dement everywhere. And so I'm pretty easy to find.
Awesome. Awesome.
Are you going to be at
Thank
QuiltCon
you
this year?
guys too. I don't know. QuiltCon's hard to get to from here. Raleigh's hard to get to from Texas. You have to stop in Atlanta, and then I don't know if I'm going to try to be at QuiltCon this year.
Okay,
I'm going to try to be at QuiltCon because it's just fun. I will be there next year because it's in Atlanta and that's home. So
yeah. Well, I'll steal your camera if you are there again and run around like a mad person with it.
I love it so much.
It was so funny. It was a fun gadget.
It was fun.
Yeah, I think that's it.
I think that's it. I'm ready to go to the quilt show and buy some things that I don't need.
All right, sounds good.
There
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Thank
Bye,
you.
guys.